to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
Razman IFL TV proudly sponsored by Everlast. With me, promoter Ben Shalom. Ben, what a night of boxing.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable night, to be honest. You'd never know what to expect, obviously, when you come into Paris for the first time and you're doing a co-promotion with a company you've not worked with before, and so many things. Worrying about judges, worrying about referees, worrying about crowd, worrying about dressing rooms, worrying about everything. So it was good, and unbelievable night, great atmosphere. I thought the crowd were very good. Definitely a different feel, isn't it? Definitely a different feel from in the UK, different sort of crowd, but there's room for boxing to grow in France. You can see it, they appreciate it. They appreciate boxing being here. Obviously Tony Yoka was or is their star, but they were here from 8 o'clock. And watching everything, so it was very, very good night.
Let's start with McCollum first. Obviously he was up first from your side. Most people I saw on Twitter had him winning comfortably and called it a robbery. His guide, he was upset that he didn't get the win, especially coming away. What did you make of it?
Yeah, he did win the fight, no doubt about it. I think unfortunately, when you come out here and it's French officials, you know you've got to do anything and not give them an excuse. I do think Azeez did come back into it. Maybe the last 2-3 rounds you could argue he won, but the first 4 comfortably for Azeez, and probably the first 6 in many people's eyes. So definitely did win the fight, but I think you have to do so much to win out here, unfortunately. It's something we'll speak about after, but he performed really well, boxed beautifully. He should be very, very happy. It shows that he is improving now under Joe Gallagher, and those 3 defeats that he had back to back we can almost forget about now. He's a serious fighter against a guy there that they really highly rate here in France, and he did beat him. So he should be happy, proud of himself. At least he didn't get robbed completely with a loss. But yeah, of course he won the fight.
Lauren Price, and when I spoke to her, she seemed not as jubilant as she normally is after a win, but that was because she said that maybe spent a bit too much time out of the ring and not in the gym. There's quite a bit of ring rust.
Definitely a bit of ring rust, but still took on a dangerous opponent. Won every round. I'd have liked to see, a few more combinations and putting the pressure on a bit earlier, because that's what we know she's capable of. But I think she grew into it. But yeah, a little bit of rust. But for me, you can see how good she's going to be. You can see how special she is, and it's I swear, honestly, it's not easy boxing in front of this sort of crowd very early on in your career. It will be a very good experience for her, stand her in good stead, and now she can get really active. But I think we saw enough to show why she's going to be so special.
Dan Azeez. Now, when I spoke to him a few months ago when he won the British title, he was jubilant, and he said to me that I want to follow the traditional method, British, Commonwealth, European, and he came away France to a hostile crowd during the fight and pulled it off.
No, he said it as well. He's the one that plans this. Like, people talk about how well he's developed and how perhaps well we've developed him. Yes, we got him the right opponents at the right time, things like that. But he always wanted to do Southern Area English, British, Commonwealth, European, and he's done it. And World, obviously, is the only one left. I think he could have got him out there earlier. Thomas Foray was a tough man, and that was a hostile atmosphere. That was tough for Dan to come into with the national anthems. I was a bit upset because he was meant to be in the home corner, and you saw us changing the corners at the end, and there were a few tricks being played. The national anthem there went second, and it shouldn't have been like that. Anyway, he did so much. He won, for me, nearly every round. Could have got him out there earlier, but it was a great fight. That was a proper fight, and fair play to Thomas Foray, because he came and he was ready, and that was his one chance. And when you're fighting with someone with nothing to lose, that's when you get the best fights. And I thought it was a great fight, great night for Dan Azeez, and came through adversity.
Obviously, he got the stoppage in the 12th round, which was the absolutely right thing. But were you at any stage worried that, again, what happened with McCollum could happen to Aziz as well?
I was worried throughout it. The only thing is, because it was an EBU title, it was all neutral officials. It was a Finnish ref. There was no French officials involved. He was in the home corner. So Macaulay's, we always knew was going to be difficult. It was French officials in a French crowd against one of their favourites. Whilst this was Dan in the home corner, completely our fight. No French officials. So to be honest, no way near the same way. And I was confident that Dan Azeez was going to dominate like he did. And again, I know I was speaking to Buddy Bigger after, and he's so pleased with his development. He said even in the short time he's been with him, it just gets better and better. I think we all felt he could have got him out of there earlier, but it was a proper performance. And again, in an environment that no boxer wants to be in, but Dan Azeez wants to be in, and that's what's special.
Question is, what is next for him? I know he wants the world title, and they're going to be, held up for a little while with Beterbiev and Callum Smith, Bivol, maybe Canelo in September. So, and he probably, if he's honest, he'd probably admit that he's a little bit away from a world title shot. But how are you going to engage him and keep him busy?
I think he just wants the biggest fights. He's already said to me, Lyndon Arthur, Anthony Yard, Josh Buatsi, any of them he would take. He wants to fight all of them. He wants to fight Gray Richards. He wants to fight all of them in that domestic division. And we talk about the cruiserweight division being special with Lawrence and Richard in this country and Chris. The light heavyweights is hotting up now, and Dan Azeez is right up there. And for me, it's big fights, it's big names, it's whatever opportunities. Yes, probably needs 1, 2, maybe 3 more before we start thinking, right, we're ready for a world title, because he's fast tracked since he's been with us. But he wants proper fights, Dan Azeez. He doesn't want to mess around. He wants to get in there with the very best. And so I imagine a big domestic fight could be on the cards.
Finally, I know you've done an away trip to Albania with Marco, but obviously France, how did everything go? Happy, satisfied? And you mentioned there might be another away trip coming up next month or the month after.
Yeah, I thought the main event was a proper fight, and people thought that maybe Takan's finished, but we saw against Makhmudov, he definitely isn't. He was almost became the home fighter here today. It was great to see. It felt like a proper domestic heavyweight showdown. People will be very surprised about Tony Yoka, and I do feel sorry for him, because this was, fighting Martin McCollum, the fighter that no one wants to face. I've spoken to so many heavyweights about Martin McCollum. He is, in the top 3 heavyweights that no one wants to fight. He's right up there. So to have matched him against him, and then off the back of 12 months out, Carlos Takam, who's been a lot more active than him in his hometown, that's tough. Yeah, I feel sorry for him, because so much expectation on his shoulders, and it's hard to see, other than a rematch, what he can do to get back to where he was. And but yeah, night was incredible. Definitely would like to come and do more shows in France with Canal Plus. Thank you to them. Thank you to All Star Boxing and Jerome and everyone that's been involved, because it's been special. And yeah, we got another show next month in a different territory. It's good. It's bringing boxing a little closer together. Tonight we'll have our big audiences on Canal Plus, but also on Sky Sports. It's very rare that you have 2 proper broadcasters working like that at the same time zone. So it's special, and I think it sets a really nice foundation for us to develop talent and put on more shows.
Ben, always a pleasure. Thank you for your time this week. And yeah, we'll see you next week at Media Day to announce your schedule for the next couple of months.
Yes, looking forward to it. Cheers, Raza. Take care, mate.
Ben Shalom, IFL TV, thank you very much.